Welcome to the Sport Exchange with me, John Robbie. Hi guys, welcome to the Sport Exchange podcast where we meet sporting personalities and learn about their lives and their life stories. There are two types of scrum half, the mercurial, spectacular, explosive kind and the steady, controlling kind. Which is better for a team? Well, today we meet a Springbok who seems like the latter, but who still scores his fair shares of tries, including a fabulous one on international debut against France. Welcome, Ross Cronje. Ross, finally we've got you in. We've messed you around a few times. Great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How is the injury?
It's coming along nicely. It's been 8 weeks since I've had the operation, but the shoulder's feeling great. My range is about 10% difference, which is quite incredible at this stage. I saw the specialist today. The bones fused back together, so yeah, everything's going very well.
How did you do it?
I think it's just a number of games that I've been playing with it now. I think my last 8 games that really started bothering me.
So it was wear and tear rather than a specific incident?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of times that I can recall hurting it, but then rehab with our doc Yanni, he's our biokineticist. He really knows how to sort out our shoulders, and but this last time I just couldn't get it right, and to lift my arm was quite a chore. So yeah, we do.
And ribs as well?
Yeah, I think that was more painful than the shoulder, to be honest.
How did that happen?
Thomas du Toit fell on me against when we played that Currie Cup in Durban game against the Sharks. So he's not a small boy, and I think he'd break most guys' ribs.
Do you ever play fully fit? I'm talking about, I don't mean the beginning of a season, as you're halfway through a season. I remember once talking to a professional soccer player, and he said, you look at a soccer team out there, nobody is fully fit. Everybody has got some niggle, injury, whatever. What's it like for professional rugby players today?
I think the last time I played fully fit was 2017. I know this whole 2018 season I've been playing with a couple of niggles and stuff. But it was 2017 Super Rugby, and then my first couple of Springbok games, and then after that, the wear and tear started. But yeah, I don't think there are many rugby players that are fully fit.
Do you take injections? I mean, legal. Do you take painkillers when you go on the field?
Yeah, not really injections, more pain pills, anti-inflams, that type of thing, especially after a game. But definitely, yeah. I think most rugby players do.
How is your spirit at the moment? I mean, suddenly, you were Alistair Coetzee's main man, really, or one of the main men in there. Now Rassie has come in, things have changed. You were called up to the camp. I know you couldn't go on the tour, etc. Have you sat down with Rassie? Has he said you're in his plans? What's the state of play?
Oh, Rassie's got quite a big job. Just managing players is massive, and look, he's briefly spoken to me, but at the same time we kept missing each other with meetings and stuff. It's quite demanding being head coach of South Africa, so when you do get a chance to speak to the players, I mean, I know he spoke to the starting 23 before that Australia test, and he was going to go through the rest of the team the following week, but it was that New Zealand test that the boys won, and didn't get a chance to speak to him. So hopefully next year or something he'll give me a shout.
Do you know him well?
I don't know him too well.
What's the buzz? Oh, sorry.
I got to know him a bit. Obviously now being part of the Springboks and everything, and he's got South Africa's best interest at heart, especially when it comes to Springboks. It's all about doing the best for the country, and he's really got the Springboks' best interest at heart, and I think he's definitely the right man for the job. He's the type of guy that doesn't really care what happens to him as long as the Springboks do well, which is awesome. I think you definitely need a guy like that, and he gets a team going, the team together, which was quite nice to see, and the boys have quite a bit of respect for him. So is he
organised? I mean, I know, for example, Joe Schmidt, who many are calling the best coach in the world now. His level of organization is almost OCD. You know, his micromanagement is incredible. How would Rassi fare on that side?
Yeah, the nice thing about Rassi is he's head coach, and obviously he's got the final say in things. But at the same time, he allows his attack and defensive coach to obviously run their respective departments, which is quite nice. Obviously, where he disagrees, he'll step in and so give his 2 cents worth. But yeah, he's really motivating when it comes up to just before the test matches and everything, especially against New Zealand. I mean, I don't know, I've never seen a guy so passionate leading up to the week of that test match.
Is he a shouter? Is he a wall banger? Is he is that the sort of passion there, or is it quiet and controlled?
It's quiet, it's controlled. He's relaxed. It was actually quite nice to see. Coach Swayze is more of the passionate guy.
Yeah,
doesn't shout, but I mean, like, he's very passionate. But Rassi is very controlled, and he speaks nicely to the boys, and he can get a bit emotional, but it's that passion coming through, which is nice.
Is it a collective issue? Because in my day, I mean, the ancient days, it was very much the coach was almost professorial. In South Africa, but he was the god. He told you what to do and you did it. Amongst yourselves, you might make plans, but basically he told you what to do. Do you have an input into tactics, into the way things are done? Tell us, take us behind the scenes on that one.
Definitely, especially Pollard. He's not that old, but I mean, he's really probably one of the senior guys in the team. Alton.
He reminds me of Johnny Sexton, actually. Similar, very strong views and a dominant figure even from a young age.
Definitely. And I mean, even Alton and a lot of the boys are adding value when it comes to how we're going to play against New Zealand or Australia, or obviously I wasn't on tour now with the guys. But yeah, a lot of it is coming from the players, which is always nice, because obviously we're the ones on the field, and we get given our game plan. But the nice thing is you've got so many options, and if one thing's not working on the field, the guys have that freedom to change it up and use a different plan as to what's going to work.
But you've got to have confidence, haven't you? Because, especially when a team is perhaps not dominant, when a team is under pressure, then there's always that feeling, well, if I take it upon myself and it doesn't work. How do the good coaches deal with that dilemma?
So the nice thing is, I think there's a little bit of a prize to the guy that actually spots the space within the team. And that's in trainings, that's in the games, that's throughout everything. So it's not like the old school South African rugby where you get the ball, run over the guy. Now he's trying to teach the boys to look up, identify space, play to where the space is, which is pretty nice.
But sometimes to run over the guy and then offload leads to space, doesn't it? Didn't Sonny Bill Williams teach us that?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
But you've got to have the right guys around you, running off the ball, understanding which player is able to do that. I mean, if there are a couple of boys in the Springbok team that can do that, but like I say, you've got to have the guys around you that identify exactly what you're going to be doing.
What was it like playing for the Lions in their absolute pomp? I mean, I remember watching you take apart the Hurricanes in the semi-final at Ellis Park. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I think it was Ben Smith said it's the fastest game he's ever played in his life. I mean, from a guy like that, they were genuinely so impressed. And you got a feeling with the Lions at that stage that everybody was so confident, everybody was so optimistic, creative, they would take risks, etc. What is it like playing in that sort of side?
First of all, there's no better feeling than running out onto a packed Ellis Park.
Yeah.
I
know that.
That's incredible. I honestly believe that there's no stadium for me better than that. I've played it in a couple now. in Europe, in Australia, and New Zealand, and the atmosphere and
the noise. You come out of that tunnel, it's like a wall of sound, isn't it?
Definitely, and also it's a quick field, which is obviously suits the Lions game.
Explain that to people.
Yeah, look, cheapers. I mean, we're busy with preseason at the moment, and I mean our fitness instructor, Cash Ivan van Rijn, he's there's just a point where you think in the back of your mind, okay, this guy wants to improve every single year, and the volume that we're doing is more and more and more. Like, when is like that tipping point gonna be? Because the guys busy with preseason now are really being pushed to the limits. And he really makes sure that we the fittest team in Super.
But explain the quick field. Explain that. I understand the fitness side of it, but what is a quick field? Is that the quality of the turf, the
Definitely.
Short grass, hard turf?
So I was leading into that.
Oh, sorry. So I'm excited to talk as an old scrum half to a modern scrum half.
No, definitely. So it's a turf. I mean, it's incredible. It's more of a running field because. I'm trying to think of how to explain this now, but like you say, the turf is absolutely perfect. It's cut to a certain length that us players quite enjoy, and they come ask us before a game if it's short enough or if it's long enough. We like to make sure that it's short, because obviously with our fitness and everything, we can run most teams
third quarter
it
opens up
out of the game. And that's what happened in that semi-final you're talking about against the Hurricanes. We literally ran away with it at the end there because obviously our fitness, but at the same time altitude also helps us, and that's why I say it's also quite a fast field. The ball goes a lot further, passing, kicking, absolutely everything. So just the speed of the game is lifted, and if we try to lift that intensity at the same time, it's very hard to stay with us.
Tell us about the revolution. The Lions revolution was unbelievable. They were a joke. I mean, I remember the absolute nadir was 2009 against the British Lions when they lost by 70 points in front of an empty Ellis Park. They had pathetic amateur acrobat. I mean, the whole thing just was third rate, not even second rate. And in a few short years, they're perhaps the second best provincial side in the world. I mean, you were a large part of that. What was it like going through that adventure?
Yeah, look, I mean, we went through our lows to start off with. I joined up with the Lions in 2012 after playing against them in the Currie Cup final where they beat the Sharks. I was playing for the Sharks at the time.
I'd forgotten that. I was there.
So I was shaking the guys' hands after, and they're like, "Welcome to the Lions." And I remember it clearly. I had Bismarck in front of me and Yanni Duplessis behind me, and I was a bit like, oh shit, excuse my language, but so I was a youngster coming through the Sharks ranks at the stage, and then joining up with the Lions.
How did that come about?
So,
I know you're from Johannesburg originally,
look, I started for the Sharks the first couple of 6 Currie Cup games, and I think I got man of the match 3 times, and then I went from starting to not even in the 22 at the time.
Who came in? Remind us.
So Scholl was with the Springboks,
and
I was happy about that, and then dropped out of to obviously third choice, then came back, got man of the match again. Scholl came back from the Springboks, and then out of the 2022, and then I was just like, okay, I don't really know where I stand here. And decided my brother's going to the Lions, my family's here in Joburg. Let me give it a go here, and honestly, one of the greatest decisions ever.
So, but give me more. I mean, do you approach them? Do you pick up a phone? Does your agent pick up a phone? Do you say, look, I'm thinking of it. What can you do? How does it work? Give us more of the negotiation.
Yeah, so the Sharks at the time told both my brother and myself that they weren't going to re-sign our contracts. So
how did that feel?
No,
that's failure.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And if you have a look at the majority of the guys that are at the Lions now came through that have been playing for the last couple of years. Almost, I reckon, 95% of the guys were told that they're not going to have their contracts re-signed.
Yeah.
And the Lions snapped them up, and they managed to turn a bunch of ordinary guys into this incredible team that works together.
Did they give you a sense of vision? I mean, did they sell you a vision that you bought into, or was it a case of, I've been dropped from the Sharks, I just need to go somewhere?
No. Look, we had, I'm trying to think if I had other offers at the time, but I think I just wanted to move back to Joburg, to be closer to the family. My cousins have farms up north that I love going to. So, yeah, and then the opportunity came, and I don't know, I just wanted a change. Durban was a very small town.
Was that John Mitchell? Or was it Ackerman?
Was John Mitchell at the time, and
persuasive man, yeah.
Yeah, he got myself and my brother there, and that was interesting at the time, but good.
Why do you smile and say it was interesting? Was it a culture shock, John Mitchell?
No. He was actually, to me, he was a very nice guy. I can't really say anything bad about him in terms of how he treated me.
But he lost it with the team, didn't he, at the end?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think he would admit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are definitely some guys that will speak a lot different about him to you, but didn't do much wrong to me, and he's a great rugby mind. I just don't think he could stay at a union for that long. There's only a certain amount that players can tolerate, and I think that's exactly what happened.
Did you clash with him at all?
No.
Because some did. I mean, we've had people on the Sport Exchange podcast who said that it came to a stage where they couldn't do it. Does a team have spokespeople? Obviously, you've got your captain. So do you have people who can go and say, look, this is the way the team are feeling? Take us into that side of things.
Generally, you've got your senior group that represents the team and speaks openly to the coaches, and that's been very evident at the Lions at the moment, and. Generally, if there's an issue with how training's been, if we're training too long hours, then the players can approach those guys, and those guys will go to the coaches on behalf of the team.
And can they say anything? They're told presumably don't bottle it up and talk it behind in closed doors. Come up. Can you do it that way?
I wasn't part of that group when Mitch was around, but so I don't know if the senior players did speak openly to him because. Yeah, I played under him for a year, and then he was asked to leave. But now at the Lions with Coach Aki's, Coach Swayze, it was no matter who you were, you could go speak openly to them. And if the senior guys thought that we were overtraining, undertraining, we'd go to them and say, okay, this is how we feel, So yeah.
How are the Lions looking now going forward? Because you've got a number of, in Alistair's time, he sort of almost put the Lions in, based the Springboks on the Lions, limited success. We saw Elton looking like a chicken without a head at one stage. And I don't mean to be unkind to him because I'm a big fan. Obviously things didn't work. Now a lot of those Lions Springboks are out and perhaps looking for greener pastures overseas. How is that going to affect the Lions, do you think?
Yeah, it'll definitely affect the Lions. We've lost some key players. You have a look at our front row. Jacques Van Rooyen's gone. Rondre. Those guys got us go forward. They got us countless penalties. So they definitely a big loss.
Franco Mostert. He was the absolute pillar of the pack, wasn't he?
The engine on that guy is incredible. If I was choosing a team, he'd be the first guy I'd pin in. And then obviously Jaco Kriel is a big loss, and Ron Janse van Rensburg off to sale. So
go through the names,
those guys are big time players, and the experience that we've lost is massive. But at the same time, we've got very exciting youngsters coming through.
Were you tempted to go, overseas and say, look, at your age, you're married with a family, etc. You've got business. We'll talk about that as well. Were you tempted to go overseas?
Yeah, obviously the money is incredible if you go overseas. But at the same time, just started up 2 businesses. So I want to get that.
2 businesses. I know you've got the wedding venue, which is called Ground. Is that right?
So we've got the wedding venue Ground and the restaurant Ground. Okay, that falls under one Ground Cafe. That falls under one business. I've actually just bought the farm next door to my parents. And,
fantastic! Where's that?
In the cradle as well. Yeah,
fantastic. In the
cradle of humankind. And yeah, I'm quite excited to get stuck in there. I'm going to be putting up a bit of accommodation. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful farm, 64 hectares. So I want to put up accommodation there and then eventually subdivide 1 or 2 plots, a couple of plots.
Fantastic.
And sell that off and then start farming peanuts or something like that.
Where do people get details if they want to find out about either of the businesses?
So Ground, at the moment, we've got our Facebook page and Ground Cafe, obviously, too. But we are busy with a website at the moment, and all information and that will be up shortly. But you can find us on Facebook at the moment. And
do you enjoy the business side of things?
At the moment, so I started off being quite hands-on with the business. But yeah, it became a bit too much. I was neglecting my rugby a little bit, so I handed over to my sister and my wife. They're running it full time at the moment, and then
keep it in the family, yeah,
definitely, and someone who you can trust. So my wife's very good from a business side of things, and my sister from a sales, and she's not the the best when it comes to organization, but she can sell anything. And yeah, they're a great team at the moment. But yeah, it's. For me, I was neglecting my rugby, and I needed to focus more on that. That's my livelihood for the next 5 years, and then I'm done with rugby.
I wonder, how is your brother? Because I first heard of you when Michael House had this team that the whole country was talking about, and there was a winger, Combrink, and there was Pat Lambie was the star, and there were the 2 Blondie twins, etc. I mean, it was extraordinary that the 4 of you were just thrown together at the one time. I mean, that must have been unbelievable, that experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a look at our backline, it was myself, 9, my brother, 10, Combrink, left wing. Both centres played Craven Week and played junior level, so under 21 provincial. And then we had Mark Richards on the...
That's right, sevens. I remember him for the sevens.
Sevens, and then Pat Lambie at fullback. And
oh my goodness.
So we had a killer backline. And yeah, still some of the best rugby I've ever played in my life.
And then your brother, who many thought, was sort of on a par with you, putting it that way, and then suddenly got cancer.
Yeah. So unfortunately at the Sharks, he injured his foot. And that was when his rugby started taking a dip. He never quite recovered from it. He had speed. He had a step. He had acceleration of and he for a small guy, he put some massive hits in. I remember when he played the British and Irish Lions. Jamie Roberts, the centre.
The Welsh centre. Yeah,
he ran at my brother, and my brother absolutely pumped him. And for a small guy like that, I mean, it was quite incredible. But yeah, so ever since that, I think he was 21 when it happened, and he was never quite the same rugby player. But he carried on and
played for Zim, didn't he?
Yeah, played for Zim. So he always tunes me that he's the first international in the team in our family. So and he.
When did you hear he had cancer?
I think.
Do you remember the moment?
Yeah, I heard through my mum and dad and tried to get hold of him, and he was quite upset because it was quite serious. Melanoma, but he had stage 4, which was
and no hint of that beforehand.
Nothing. So he went for a test on his 1 mole and came back positive. Had it cut out and everything was fine, and spread up into his groin. And he went in, got everything removed. So it only spread to a certain area, which was incredible. Got everything removed. Went on a specific treatment from the US, which was incredible. and he's very healthy today. Got a baby boy, living in Durban, very chilled life.
Fantastic.
Durbs, very
and
nice.
I mean, you're twins, eh? Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, even though you're a little bit bigger than he is, and so on. And I remember we spoke to Akona in Dingani, and he was talking about twins. He said whenever his brother gets sick, he gets sick. You know, there's that almost mystical bond between twins. Did you have anything like that?
We actually did. So I had chicken pox from waist up. He had chicken pox from the waist down. He went in for his appendix 2 days later, emergency appendix. 2 days later, I had to go in for mine.
You're kidding.
What else now? There's a whole bunch of things that have happened to.
Well, I hope that trend doesn't continue with the melanoma.
No,
and so
definitely.
I mean, after that happened, it must have been almost a reality check for you. Did you get yourself checked out? And
I go every 6 months to.
Is it?
Yeah. No, it's vital, and everybody should actually go at least once a year. So. Yeah.
Because it's something, I mean, you go to Australia, every second person is obsessed with skin cancer. Yet in South Africa, we hardly mention it. Hey? It really is something, maybe a project to get involved in, isn't it?
Definitely. And I actually quite like to get involved. I do always give whenever someone asks me for a jersey when it comes to cancer or something like that, because it's quite close to our hearts now.
Yeah.
I always seem to try help out where I can.
Going to a school like Michael House, which is, I mean, it's a world-class school, and my 3 grandsons who live in England are down for Michael House. I'm proud to say I've spoken at them. I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful place. Without being unkind, you almost think that the kids are prepared for professions, you know, doctor, accountant, engineer, rather than rugby, etc. Did you decide early on you wanted a professional rugby career, and how did the school adapt to that?
Look, I mean...
Or is it unfair? Would you now say that a sport as a profession is something that a school like Michael House would take seriously as well?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in the last couple of years. We've had, four Springboks in... Yeah, so and I was lucky to play with each and every one of them. But yeah, my class sports is we have our years where we're incredible, and then our years where we can do a bit better. Yeah. But yeah, it's an unbelievably great sporting school. I think we taken lightly sometimes by other schools, and then we just give them a bit of a surprise every now and then.
And tell us about the Hilton game. That must be very special. I've never been to one.
Sure. No, that is probably one of the best games of rugby you'll ever play. Running out, 10, 15, 20,000 people. I can't remember, but yeah, packed stadium, incredible.
And how did you do against them your year?
So, I think we hold the record. I think we beat them 40-0.
Oh, my word.
And the second game was 44-17 or 16. Yeah.
In terms of preparation, obviously you were very, very dedicated. You wanted to have this rugby career, and you had an incredible career. At all stages, did you have parallel thoughts about life after rugby? Because I was an amateur player, but as a professional, you understand you're only one broken leg away from the end of a career. So
I actually wish somebody gave me a bit more advice when I was younger. I think I was living day to day where I could have been doing a lot more. I only started realizing that there's life after rugby when I was 25, and to be honest, that's a bit too late.
What would you have done? Studied?
So I started studying BCom and got to my second year, and then when you're playing full-time rugby,
it's impossible.
It's not impossible. I mean, there are a lot of guys that do it, but it is very difficult. So you've got to either have a rugby life and studies, or a rugby life and a social life. Yeah. And I think at that time I was young and I just wanted to enjoy myself a bit and live life to the full. So I did a diploma after. Now, when I arrived in Joburg, my uncle actually helped us out with that, and we did it through his company.
What diploma in what?
Project management.
Oh, right. Good. Yeah.
But I would recommend that guys do study. But at the same time, when you're earning the money that you do, especially some of these youngsters coming through are really earning some great money.
Yeah.
They can seriously set themselves up properly. I know
A lot of them are spending it though as well. I know, looking at some of the cars and so on, no disrespect, but
no.
You wonder sometimes, are these kids, heading for disaster?
100%. And I try give the guys as much advice as I can, especially the youngsters. I mean, a huge role model for youngsters. You have a look at your Malcolm Marks and Carl Brink.
Yeah.
They've started up a company together, and it's actually just taken off, and they're doing extremely well. And what are they, 23 years old at the moment? So I wish I had a little bit of advice like that when I was
how do you tell a 20-year-old who's living the dream that he's got to think of basically his retirement, It's a tough message to get across, isn't it?
Definitely, but I still believe that you can enjoy life and start up. You're earning enough money to do that. So you can definitely start a business up or invest into something. Even if you start, if there's 5 or 6 of you that start an investment club or something, there's so many different ways of doing it.
Stockfeld. Do players do that? Because I know some of the Irish players, the Leinster players, got together and bought pubs together and work it, and it's working out pretty well. I mean, Stockfeld is a fairly good model to use, isn't it?
So I don't know too many rugby boys that are doing it at the moment, but my cousin actually roped me into his investment club that we all started up. And we're not doing too badly thanks to Bitcoin, but but yeah.
I hope you sold at the right time, did you?
Not quite at the right time, but I mean
you're out of it.
We've made a bit of money, and we're still holding on to 1 or 2, so it's not bad.
Tell us about your try on debut for the Springboks. I mean, against France, it was such an amazing try. Talk us through it.
Yeah, sure. I remember it
because I looked there with
clearly.
Jealousy. I looked and said, "Why didn't I do something like that?"
No, Warren was captain at the time, and he noticed that they've just got a yellow card, and the fullback was sent off. So, or they one wing or fullback, so there was a bit of space behind, and we just had to cut the line. So he called this one specific move where the ball gets thrown over the line out, and as he got it. I knew, okay, I'm in here, because he offloaded to me and off I went. Thank goodness that prop that was chasing me didn't reel me in, because that would have been a bit embarrassing.
But how did it feel the moment you crossed the line? Not alone have you got your Springbok colours, but you've scored on debut. Very few people do that.
So I remember Franz Steyn just running up to me and flipping grabbing me, and within seconds the whole team was around me, and I didn't even hear the crowd at the time, because the guys that were on the field were just there flipping. It was incredible.
And you and Faf, how do you get on?
So Faf's actually one of my very good friends. And
yet he's your closest rival for years, both Springbok and Lions.
Yeah, the nice thing is when we're at the Lions, I mean, if he was starting, I would support him, and if I was starting, he would support me. And at the end of the day, it was all about the team and what was best for the team. And off the field, on the field we mates, off the field we mates, and he's actually a top quality guy.
The fact that his game has gone up a notch since he went to England, you must have noticed that.
Yeah, he's playing great rugby at the moment. I think he's matured a lot. When before he was overseas, he would do 1 or 2 irrational things, and I really think playing in England, I mean, if you give the ball away, then you're going to be punished, because they know how to keep the ball. So he's really grown as a player, and I think it was a great move for him going overseas.
Fantastic. Tell us something about Ross Cronje that nobody knows.
About me?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Come on, tell us something. Or even who you've found. Give us something. Give us an insight that maybe you don't normally share.
I'm quite an open guy. I'm a very open book. So there's not much that people don't know, but I love a beer with the boys.
Yeah.
Back in my day, I was quite naughty when I was a youngster. I think I was judged what I did off the field a little bit more than what I did on the field, and that's one thing I've loved about coming to the Lions. is the coaches don't really care what you do off the field as long as you perform. So still to this day, I will smash a couple beers before my first Springbok game. I was actually quite nervous. So the Friday night, I usually go out for dinner and have 2-3 beers the night before a game. But yeah, I was a bit nervous this night. So I had about 5 beers and a glass of wine and a Don Pedro to just top it off. But yeah, no, look, I don't think.
Well, it obviously worked, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it affects me that much. Obviously, it affects some people, but yeah.
Sounds like you got your head screwed on. We wish you well with the injuries and your career, both on and off the field. Ross, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Ross Cronje, what a well-balanced guy who likes his beer as well. Thanks as usual to Slow in the City for hosting us. Follow us on social media or subscribe via your favorite podcast app for updates. See you next time on the Sport Exchange podcast. Cheers from John Robbie.